Hello and welcome to the Fantasy News Show from the Bottled Imp. My name is Ken Boyter and this is your weekly fix of fantasy wonderfulness. On this week's show, Dragonmeet is back and this time it's bigger and better. The role-playing game Shadows of Esteren is to be set to music. And the Bodleian Libraries of the University of Oxford have announced this year's winner of their award. But first, Historic England is asking members of the public to document witch markings. The ritual markings on buildings in the UK were once believed to ward off evil spirits, with the witch marks that were often carved near entrances to buildings, you know, doorways, windows, anywhere that sort of air moved, that they thought that witches could get in. And there's some including on the house where Shakespeare lived, was born, and also on the Tower of London. So obviously this belief in witches was widespread. And the symbols can be found on medieval houses and churches and other buildings, and it was most commonly from around, what have we got down here, 1550 to 1750. So that's over 500 years ago. And the heritage agency Historic England says that too little is known about them, so they're trying to document them to try and make a pattern of exactly where all of these witch markings are. And they took many forms, but the most common type was the daisy wheel design, which looks like a flower drawn with a compass in a single endless line that was supposed to kind of confuse and then trap the witches, which I love that concept. And this story is brilliant. This is kind of, you know, fantasy meeting real life, or real life meeting fantasy, and it does remind me of the Demon Cycle series by Peter V. Brett that we have done a review on, well, the first 3 books anyway, and I'm actually in the middle of reading the 4th book, and because in that series the whole demons exist, and that the villages, the only way that they can survive against these demons, they've got nothing else to protect them apart from these symbols that they put down on the floor and they put down on the buildings to protect them. So I really love that fact that it actually happened in real life. It's brilliant. So if you do obviously spot any of these witch markings near you and you want to let the Historic England know, you can go to their website, which is historicengland.org.uk, and we will put the links in the description of this episode. Dragonmeet has moved to a new, bigger and better venue. Dragonmeet claim to be one of the most vibrant tabletop gaming conventions and the largest of its kind in London. And this year they've moved to the Novotel London West Hotel in Hammersmith. There are lots and lots of things to be doing here on this one, and you can expect things like new and old games to be played, industry panels and book signings from authors. There's even going to be an art show. There's a bring and buy sale. There's cosplay events, and there's lots of new traders and also games that are going to be demoed there. And there's going to be gaming tournaments. And of course, there's a chance that you can meet and mingle with new friends. So obviously, if you just set up a game, I'm sure there'll be people there that will just happily sit down and play it with you. There's also evening entertainment, beginning with a charity auction, which is led by Brian Nesbitt, and continues with a pub quiz in the bar. Obviously, where else would you have a pub quiz? If you're interested in going, it all takes place, as I say, at the Novotel Hotel, London West in Hammersmith, London. And that is on the 3rd of December, and the doors open at 10 AM and it finishes at midnight. So that is one long day of fantasy. To find out more and to book your tickets, you can go to dragonmeet.co.uk. The London gaming market is the place to buy retro video games, board games and merchandise all in one place, and that's according to their website. The London gaming market will be held every 4 months at the Royal National Hotel in Russell Square, London, and the next one is actually this Sunday, which is Sunday the 6th of November. Traders are bringing thousands of titles, ranging from the current releases to lots of classic memorabilia. So if you like that kind of thing, they are offering an early entry ticket too. So if you really kind of think there's going to be a gem of a classic that you know there's only a one-off left, or you know is very rare to get, you might want to consider the early bird ticket. Doors open at 11 AM and finishes at 4 PM. For more information, you can go to londongamingmarket.com. Sirenscape are to create the official sound packs to the RPG Shadows of Esteren. Sirenscape, for those of you that don't know, is a music and sound effects app that lets dungeon masters, and well, you can use it in just general gaming as well, but it adds atmosphere. So you can set up a little app that kind of, you can program it, and you can do light, you can do it on the hoof as well, has special effects, sound effects and music atmosphere to your gaming experience. We have done a review of that a couple of weeks ago, so you can check that out to get more of an idea of what it's about. And this is due to an unlocked stretch goal on their current Kickstarter. They unlocked it, which meant that they can now commission Sirenscape to do the official sound packs for the Shadows of Esteren RPG. And that includes the first 3 music albums, which are of Men and Obscurities. What else here? We've got Dearg, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Rise. So there's 3 campaigns that they're doing the music for. They unlocked that level. It was $90K, so $90,000 they unlocked. And all backers of the Dearg Kickstarter, which is the current one that's happening at the moment, they will receive a 2-month Super Siren subscription and a complete unlock of Sirenscape's massive sci-fi, fantasy and board game sound libraries. And believe you and me, that is a lot of sound packs. They've got hundreds now, I would imagine, on there. It's just, they've been going a good couple of years now, so they've got loads of sound packs. And also, obviously, you will be getting the Shadows of Esteren Dearg sound pack as well. And you get also an access to the sound set creator, which I don't really know about, but I'm sure it's good. So that's a massive pledge level if you can afford that one. As I say, we did review Sirenscape a couple of weeks ago, so you can check that out. And also, the Shadows of Esteren, we have met them. They were at the UK Games, and they are lovely people. And the artwork is amazing. I haven't played the RPG. I hope so soon. So I'd love to do a review of that. So for Sirenscape and Shadows of Esteren to team up, I think it's a fantastic thing to happen. I'm quite excited about that. Yes, as I say, we'll be covering the Kickstarter campaign a little bit later on in the Kickstarter news. Steamforged Games is launching a new 2-player starter set for Guild Ball, and that's coming, I think it's nearer the end of November. Now, the base game of Guild Ball is a tabletop fantasy medieval football game. That's English football, not American football or soccer, as you guys call it over there. And that is for 2 players. And in this starter set really makes it easy to get into the second season of the game. So it looks like each year they'll be producing new, I don't know what they call it, campaigns, but it's new seasons. So there's going to be they're expansions basically. And I think what they've done is they decided that, you might feel that you're getting left behind, if you're trying to jump into the game at this point. So what they decided to do, they've created a starter set called Kickoff. And that aims to kind of get you up to speed very quickly, and it gives you everything you need to jump in and play the game. And there's the rule book, obviously, you've got the core rule book as well, you've got the captain's handbook, you've got the double-sided board of the whole Guild Ball pitch that you play on. There's 12 coloured plastic models that are pre-assembled, which is what we always like. You've got the player character cards, you've got 128 game tokens, measuring tools and templates, and of course the Guild Ball dice. So there's everything that you need to get started. And the plastic models are enough to fill, because there's loads of different factions, and the actual starter set gives you the Brewers team and the Mason team, and then obviously that can be added to later on with different expansions. And I guess if you buy the core game, you can mix and match as well. If you're interested in getting into this fantasy football game, which to me is pretty much like Subbuteo, yeah, I don't know if you know about Subbuteo, this is like the fantasy version of it, then you can look out for the starter set, which, as I say, is going to be released towards the end of November. To read more about it, you can visit their website, which is steamforged.com, and then you just click on the Kickoff tab. Christopher Tolkien, son of author J R R Tolkien, is to receive the Bodley Medal. The Bodley Medal is awarded from the Bodley Libraries of the University of Oxford to individuals who have made outstanding contributions to the world of literature, culture, Science and Communication. That's quite a title, isn't it? Christopher Tolkien is a scholar and editor who spent the last 40 years editing his father's work, and obviously some of it has come out after his death as well, so he's been instrumental in kind of editing that and getting that to the readers, ensuring that his father's rich literary legacy could be read by all. And I think, you know, without him, maybe we wouldn't have had some of the other stuff that has come out. You've got, Tolkien wrote loads, great deal of poetry apparently and prose, all connected to the fancy Middle Earth without necessarily publishing it. I guess that was, you know, for his own amusement, and maybe one day he thought he would publish it. Christopher Tolkien, though, he has edited it. He's edited scores of his father's manuscripts, including this, I can't pronounce this, the Silmarillion. Oh, that's not bad. The Silmarillion, which is a collection of Tolkien works that tell the story of the first age of Middle Earth. So a lot of it, so it's pre-Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and has written a 12-volume series of books called The History of Middle Earth, which is describing the evolution of this unique imaginary world. And the latest example of this editorial work is in a forthcoming book, Brennan and Luthien, sorry about the pronunciation, which is a Middle-earth romance between a man and an elf. And as I say, that's set to be published by HarperCollins, and when's that? May 2017, so a little bit of time to wait. Kickstarter news. Shadows of Esteren from Agate Studio has a new RPG campaign book. I mentioned that earlier. And it's called Dearg, D-E-A-R-G. So it's like Dearg, like deer, but with a G, Dearg. Anyway, it's a story of love, despair, beauty, and death. And the main purpose of this Kickstarter is to finance the release of the campaign book in English as a luxury edition. But there are other things that they're doing as well. And the base game of Shadows of Esteren is a medieval role-playing game with horrific and gothic overtones in dark, low fantasy setting. That was the description they gave it. Which sounds very intriguing, and it draws on the inspiration from Celtic myths. The universe has a subtle, fantastic, hidden under a bleak, realistic surface. So it's quite gritty, it's very dark, it's very oppressive. Now, I've not played this RPG, but as I say, it's one that I really do want to get into. It's just finding the time because I want to do it properly. And I really love the Celtic mythology and the sort of darkness and the grittiness. I love all that. And this expansion, Dearg, is the result of nearly 10 years of work, apparently. There's 21 scenarios, and it takes players closer and closer to the dark secrets of the game, basically, and puts them face to face with their inner demons. So it's actually more character focused, and its main objective is to put players at the heart of the narrative and turn their personal stories into the critical components of the game, which I think sounds really intriguing. So it's kind of about you as a character and how you're dealing with the quests and with what you're experiencing in the game. Obviously, this is a new RPG. There are various pledge levels that you can get for the core book as well, and I think there are 2 other campaigns that they've released over the years that you can also pledge. This one, though, they do say that you can just jump in if you're new to the game. And as I say, I first saw this a couple of years ago at UK Games Expo and was just blown away by the artwork alone. It was just beautiful, and that whole atmosphere and the world that they created, to me, I just kind of fell in love with. And as I say, I had the pleasure of meeting them, and they're lovely people. So really wish them luck with this. There's loads of images they've got up on their campaign, lots of stretch goals. This is quite an exciting Kickstarter campaign because there's a lot going on. So if you're into RPGs, I would definitely kind of recommend this just from the artwork alone. I've not played it, as I say, but obviously you can make your mind up. They've got lots of information about how their campaigns work and their universe, so you should get a good feel of what this RPG is all about. The campaign is already funded and it finishes on the 18th of November. The Edge Dawnfall is a new miniature board game by Awaken Realms for 1 to 4 players. And then this game has been created by Michael Orchett. I knew I was going to mess that one up completely. Oryx. That's terrible pronunciation. And he is the man behind Nishirimi Hex. Again, I can't pronounce that word, I'm really sorry. And Cry Havoc. And the game features 6 asymmetrical factions with customizable options, and each with a different set of miniatures, the little warriors that you get with them, as well as spells and skills. And it plays on 2 boards, one where you actually resolve all the battles, and then a campaign map where you then follow each scenario. So it looks like it's quite a skirmish kind of base game where you have lots of battling, but at the same time there's an overarching campaign which runs through this, which I really like the idea of that. And that I guess some of the skirmishes can actually change depending on which battle you've done. Don't really know about that, but it seems quite an exciting idea. So rather than just a set of random encounters between, you know, enemy monsters and creatures and people, this is actually set up in a universe, so they create a universe behind it, and actually, you know, you can do scenarios that connect to a campaign. And they also have a gameplay video, so you can, you know, learn how to play the game and details about the rules. Plus there are pledge levels, loads of pledge levels and loads of stretch goals, and many of them have been unlocked already. The artwork does look lovely, it looks beautiful. It's kind of everything you want really from a pure fantasy point of view. And the miniatures, they do look incredible, and they've got different sizes, so they're not all the same size, and some of these monsters are huge, and they kind of cover different areas, you know, bigger spaces on the board obviously, but then they take that into account when you're battling. It does look quite exciting, this game. It's already funded and it finished on the 14th of November. The Mechanical Dancer is an animated short film by Thundercrab Studios. In a rundown part of town there stands a small theatre owned by an eccentric old man. His spectacle, The Mechanical Dancer, is quite a sight to behold, though perhaps it's seen better days. And I love this idea. The story follows an eccentric old man, and I love that. You've got an old spooky theatre, you've got a bizarre kind of, obviously you know it's going to be creepy, and then a series of crimes apparently unfold, and ghosts from the past are revealed. So I like this already, it's grabbed my attention. 90% of the character animation is done. The post-production process is almost finished, but they do need money. This is what the campaign is actually about, to actually finish off the film. They are estimating the final sound and renders to be complete in 2017, and they aim to show the Mechanical Dancer film to as many festivals and screenings as possible. And I really like this. It really, as I say, it really grabbed my attention. This sort of quirky looking, surreal, gothic, dark story. I absolutely love it. And it has that feel of the early, well, they did say they were influenced anyway by the German expressionists, if I can say it, movement, the film movement, which I think was around about 1920s, around the 30s, maybe slightly earlier. Films like Metropolis and Nefertatu. What's the vampire one?
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Junior's got a nice accent going on there. Nosferatu. You know, the vampire one, really early one with the little ones here. In fact, we must do a review of that. Yes, they've been influenced by all of that. So you've got the quirky scenery, the quirky characters, the sort of melodramatic feel to it. Does look lovely. Really excited about this one. There are lots of images for the film, and there's a little clips as well, so you can just see exactly what they've done so far. There's lots of pledge levels for this one and lots of stretch goals as well. So I really hope they do well. I'm quite excited about this one. The campaign finishes on the 16th of November. Bottled Imp news. I will be at Dragonmeet. Yay! It's the first time I've been. It's the convention that I mentioned earlier in Hammersmith in London, and they've got a little authors section. So I thought I'd go along with copies of my new book, The Legends of Grimace Ironblood, which is available on Amazon, the UK website. Got to get a plug in there. Got to get a plug in there. So yeah, but if you want to come up and say hello, if you're going already, come up, say hello, and it'd be nice to chat. And obviously you can buy a copy of my book. I will sign it, and it'd make a great Christmas present. Is that enough plugging? Anyway, I'm excited about that, and maybe we'll do an imp chat about it. I don't know. We haven't done one of those for a while. Anyway, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to keep it unreal, especially if you like watching the fantasy news. Aww.